Hi, I'm Penelope Cain. I am the S+T+ARTS residency artist and I'm here with a project called Repairing with Lichen. My project revolves around lichen, which is it's an interspecies collaboration of fungi and algae, and they live together in this thing called lichen. And I'm interested in that as a starting point to consider ideas around interspecies collaboration, around what is nature and what it could be to live better with nature in the city and places like The Hague. I started working with ideas around bioreceptivity and the surfaces of the city, and came up with this experimental kind of prototype for bioreceptive tiles, that is like small tiles treated through a variety of mechanisms to facilitate lichen growth on their surface. And I had this idea that they could become this sort of invitation for lichens to grow on, like a small area, that these tiles could be placed through the city by people in a kind of a guerrilla action, and they would be undertaking this micro-rewilding and with time create new kind of lichen level landscapes and a new way of envisaging the city at a kind of at lichen level through these tiles. So I've been working with them and different types of materiality and emerging type of concrete called a geopolymer, as well as some surface treatments and nutrient supplements. So alongside that, with the tiles, I took a deep dive into I think that perhaps maybe the wonderment of lichen, so how to convey the complexity and uniqueness of this interspecies collaboration, and I created a digital space to better understand this kind of microscopic world. I think the first way I really engaged with it was I had reached out to, the way I often operate is to just kind of contact scientists and researchers in the territory. So I had contacted a range of lichen specialists, and then through InfoArt I got connected with a couple of other lichen specialists, and I actually just asked around to see if someone could give me a lichen level tour of the city. So I had this fascinating insight into the data that's collected in, I guess in the Netherlands and particularly around The Hague, and I spent an amazing period of time working with some of their data analysts and with ecologists and with landscape architects to better understand what the spaces of The Hague are. The problem with working with something like lichen, it's a challenge but it's also a strength, is that it grows very slowly. So it grows at about a centimetre or less a year. So this kind of human wish for some kind of outcome within the project duration is something that can't be met. If you're looking at lichen, you have to take it through its own time span. So there's this kind of idea about lichen time and how to come at that and how to present that as well. I think there's a couple of interesting things that I think may play out through this project as I continue with the experiment and prototyping phase. The most interesting thing I learned from the lichen specialist is that cities need to consider their surfaces and the pace of evolution. So if lichen takes 10 years or 20 years to grow, can we develop better surface management, I guess, in the city? Can we retain older surfaces? Can we do less cleaning of mosses and lichens off surfaces? So kind of the interesting thing is that humans do less. Humans step back and let nature step in and allow these micro-wildings to occur throughout the cities. Also looking at the data set around how we could find the place that's the furthest from nature, which was, I guess, the question I was wondering. If we had a propositional site to intervene with, what would that be? And there's this amazing trove of data that we can dive into and look at what the atmospheric conditions in areas all around The Hague, the surface reflectivity, the age of buildings, the kind of this metric around what are the greenest and the least greenest areas in the city. So it's really fascinating. If we can't tell stories about the present, how are we going to make a better future?